Okay, everyone, I'm opening the meeting room waiting room right now. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for the Edwin Kiest Bond 2020 community meeting. If you give us you're going to wait like one more minute and then we'll begin our meeting. Thank you for joining us.
Recording in progress.
Again, welcome to the Dallas ISD Bond and Construction Services virtual community meeting for the replacement school for Edwin Kiest Elementary School. We're so excited to have you join us here today. And I'm going to pause right now to allow our interpreter to give instructions on how to participate in Spanish. Go ahead. Thank you so much. We have a number of ways for you to be able to participate in tonight's meeting. Again, this is the very first meeting for the Edwin Kiest Replacement School. If you're joining us on the Zoom meeting, you can certainly ask your questions and make your comments using the chat feature. Or when we open up the floor, you'll be able to use the reactions button to raise your hand. At that moment, you can go off mute and ask your question directly. Well, also, if you're joining us on Facebook, thank you so much for joining us on Facebook. We encourage you to ask your questions and participate in the comment section on Facebook. We are monitoring that live, and we'll get those questions and your questions and concerns and your thoughts shared as well. With that being said, we have a few more people still joining us in our waiting room. So we want to make sure we have everyone in as quickly as possible. Thank you. The work that we do every day at Kiest and at all of our community schools is to educate children. And we're so excited to have us here today, the principal of this great school, Mr. Rubio. Principal Rubio, if you'd like to bring your opening remarks at this time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fernando Rubio. I'm the principal at Edwin J. Kiest Elementary, and I'm excited and happy to see everyone here. And let's have a great collaboration time together.
Okay, thank you so much for hosting this meeting and joining us this evening, and for everything you do every day to educate our scholars at Edwin J. Kiest Elementary. They say behind every great man is a great woman, and certainly that's the case here. And I'm speaking of none other than the executive director for this particular set of schools in the form of Miss Lisa Vega. Miss Vega, would you like to make remarks at this time?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jacqueline Bell, for that. Good evening, everyone. I am super excited about this evening. My name is Lisa Vega, and I'm the proud executive director for the Bryan Adams North Dallas Cluster. And I'm really excited about having this collaboration, this discussion with you to really talk about our virtual design charrette for the new replacement school at Key. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Vega, and thank you, Principal Rubio, for everything that you do every day, especially during the difficult times we've had the special last couple of years to ensure that our young scholars are being educated, informed, and being nurtured to grow as they into their full potential. At the top of the educational pyramid, of course, in Dallas ISD is our Board of Trustees. And we're very fortunate this evening to have the trustee for this particular district joining us this evening. Trustee Mishke, would you like to bring remarks at this time?
Yes, thank you. And just a small correction to what you said, Ms. Bell. At the top of the pyramid is are the parents and the students and the taxpayers. And I do want to thank all of them for supporting our bond program. This is a This is a big deal for the school, a big deal for the neighborhood. Our kids deserve the same quality facilities as kids in the suburbs. And this school is going to be a beautiful new school, and it's going to do a lot to boost the neighborhood. And I want to thank everybody for participating. And I hope you will invite other friends and neighbors to join in. There are going to be a series of these design charrettes, and it is very important to get as much input as possible. So thank you all for being here tonight, and let's build a new building.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yes, I stand corrected, Trustee Mishke. Everything that we do every day is about our families, our future, and our students. And we're just excited to have you join us. And thank you for your continued leadership in Dallas ISD. We do appreciate that. As we've said, Bond 2020 is an opportunity for Dallas ISD to take our facilities into the next level. This is the largest bond program in the history of the state of Texas. And we're so fortunate to have a leadership at this point in the form of our Deputy Chief of Bond and Construction Services, Mr. Alfred. Mr. Alfred will join us at this time and set the tone and give further instructions for the evening. Mr. Alfred?
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Yes, we're excited to be here. This is the highlight for me in the bond, reaching out to the communities like Kiest to talk about how we're going to set the tone for the next 50 years. I mean, our theme for the bond is think big, and that's bold, innovation, and generational. So that's what we're asking from you guys today. And a lot of people ask me, well, what is a design charrette? You know, just something you architects come up with. Well, it actually started in Paris at Beaux-Arts School. And it's from a French word meaning chariot, a cart, where the professor would come by, you know, when the deadline for the students to put their sketches together, and they would start just working very furiously and speedy and coming up with these solutions. So today, our architect, they have a program, but they're really here to listen to you guys' ideas, and we're going to work fast and furious and come with these big ideas. And in our next meeting, we're going to present that to you. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to PGAL. They're going to tell you a little bit about themselves, and I'm going to hand it over to Tim Kangunda.
Thank you, Mr. Alfred. We are super excited that we're here to be part of this exciting new school. PGL has been providing services for the last 75 years. And we pride ourselves on educational projects, and we really appreciate the opportunity to be a partner with the ISD and with the school. We are here today to gather ideas and collaborate. And as Mr. Alfred said, we're here to talk about the big ideas, the bold, the innovative, and the generational ideas. So we got a team over here that I will introduce. So basically, for today, we're going to go down our list. After the introductions, we'll do after the meet and greet. We'll talk about what's important for the new Edwin Kiest Elementary School. We'll go through the prologue. We'll go through poll to gather ideas from the community, and we encourage participation by all the parents, by the community, and this is a very collaborative effort, and we look forward to talking with all of you and gathering the ideas and coming back and presenting what you present to us today. So we'll go down our introductions over here. We've already talked to Trustee Michike and Mr. Alfred. From Jacobs, we got Abhi Nigudkar, we got William Meredith, the design manager, and Magid Zaki, who are the project managers, who's the project manager over here. And from our team at PGAL, I'm Tim Konganda, I'm the principal in charge. And we got Errol Brown, who's the project manager. We got Matthew Finn, who's a design manager. Michelle Elbers, who's going to help with community engagement and design. And we got Lindsay Bata, who's our interior designer. So we got a very excited team to get going on this project. So we got a high level schedule. We're getting ready to get off and get on to the programming and initial concept design at this time. And then we'll take this on to schematic design, develop the design and take it into CDs and turn it into the city to get our bids and permits. And then after we get our permit approval from the city, we'll take it into construction and we'll be very happy to be part of this whole community to open the new school in 2025. And then we'll come back after the school is open to go to clear up the existing school and have our soccer fields and play fields and have a brand new campus. So getting ready to go. So I'm going to pass it on to Michelle, who's going to run our polling software. So take it away, Michelle.
So it's actually going to be me, Errol. So good afternoon, everyone. We are extremely excited to be working with DISD to provide a brand new rebuild to Kiest Elementary. So we're going to start the event off with some polling. So on the screen now, there are multiple ways that you can engage with us as we go through the exercise this afternoon. You can use your phones to scan the QR code that you see on the screen. You can also log into the website that you see at the bottom, or you can actually text based on the SMS information there at the bottom as well. So there are multiple ways to engage with us this afternoon. So we're basically going to start it out really, really easy. We're going to have kind of a trial and error poll right here at the beginning, and then we'll just start going through the exercise. So I was talking a little bit to give you enough time to get those phones out so you can scan that QR code. One other note, the information at the bottom is also going to be shown at the top of each slide for the polling. So this information will continue to pop out as we go through the exercise this evening. So for everyone on the call, again, QR code down here at the bottom. We have the text information up at the top, and let's go on through. So the first thing, just to start it off nice and easy for everyone, wanted to figure out who was Edwin J. Kiest. So we've got a couple of answers here for you, and I'll just wait for you guys to log in and see what the results are. I'll give you a couple minutes. Well, a couple seconds.
And again, if you're joining us on Facebook, we have shared the polling information as comments on the post, and we invite you, encourage you to participate as well. You can also share your thoughts as comments on the Facebook page, either Facebook Live or on Dallas ISD and Espanol as well. We are monitoring both of those sites, and we'll be sharing your thoughts as well.
All right. All right, let's see what the results are. Oh, it looks as though most people actually knew the answer to this one. So Edwin J. Kiest was actually the publisher of the Dallas Times Herald. So good job, everyone. So although Mr. Kiest was not the assistant city manager, he did serve as the president of the Dallas City Park Board from 1931 to 1935. And in 1935, he gave the city of Dallas a large tract of land for a park in memory of his late wife, Mrs. Elizabeth Patterson Lyon. Additionally, he was not the model for the Texas State Fair, Big Tex, but he was the president of the State Fair of Texas from 1908 to 1911 and 1920 to 1921. He helped finance the building of permanent fair structures and was named lifetime honorary president. So hopefully you may have learned something this afternoon. So I just want to take a little bit of time at this juncture to, again, thank the ASD for the opportunity to work on Kiest Elementary. And we just put out for you guys, the DISD anchor statement. And, Dallas ISD's opportunity-driven education environment advances the lives of students, families, and staff so they can positively impact the community and realize a better future. DISD is definitely one of the ISDs that pushes towards excellence, and we are all here this afternoon to make sure that you guys have the facilities and the tools to achieve this goal going forward. So on to some more polling. So get those phones out again, everyone. So what is your role in regards to the new Edwin Kiest Elementary School? So you've got a couple options here. So I'll give you a couple minutes to answer this question. All right. Looks as though we're pretty split. We've got some school staff, a couple parents, and some community members. All right. Nice participation, guys. All right, let's keep going through it. So the next question, pick 4. What does it mean to be an all-star at Kiest Elementary? So you've got a couple options here. And, if there's anything here that jumps out at you, you definitely pick those. What we're trying to ascertain from the group is really, how you identify yourself and how you see Kiest moving into the future. And it's kind of cool to see the results as they come in as well. All right. Does everyone have their responses in? Well, we're still going. All right, about to lock the results in. All right. So a lot of people clearly identify what it means to be an all-star with being ready to learn and part of a team. I like those 2 choices. There are definitely choices up at the top of my list as well, but responsible comes in at a strong number as well. Visionary, leadership, exemplary. You guys are a good group. I like the way you think. All right, so let's get a little bit more into it. So this particular one is actually a word cloud. So as you start typing in, what is your favorite part of the current Kiest Elementary School, the words will start popping up on the screen. So this one is kind of free for you to come up with any ideas, anything that truly come to mind. And this will also help us as a design team kind of like identify those elements that are strong for you when it relates to Kiest Elementary. And you can put in as many results as you want as we watch the graphics expand. I don't think anyone's going to beat the garden. So definitely some of the bigger ideas here definitely are the garden, which I know you guys are extremely proud of, and by rightfully so. Playground also comes in strong. School comes in strong. Teachers comes in strong. Teamwork, I like that one. Leadership as well. All very, very strong, strong words. I like this word cloud. All right. Garden is definitely the big winner. I like it. All right. So let's move on to the next item. But I like these terms. You guys are a good group. So the next question for you guys. What programs are important to Kiest Elementary School and the surrounding community? So again, we've got a couple of options laid out for you guys, but there's also the option for you to type in other, so if you do choose other, I'm going to call on you, so be prepared. And I guess I'll ask Ms. Bell to check the chat to see what other means to you. You can type that information in the chat.
Okay, does everyone know how to remember to go to the chat on your screen and Facebook? If you could type yours in its comments on Facebook. Well, the Garden Club, 100%. I know that was a big surprise, everyone. Maybe we should have said it other than gardening.
Probably. That was a throw up.
Okay. We have outdoor learning options, including outdoor classrooms and recess free play, robotics.
Robotics, okay.
Destination imagination, thank you. Yes, outdoor learning options. That's a big favorite polling coming through. I know sometimes it's hard to think about things just right off the fly. So please continue. If you think about something else, we want to go ahead and respect your time. You can always come back and add suggestions at any point in the chat. The chat is being recorded and saved as well, so we won't lose the option that you're putting out there. So if you want to move forward with Michelle with the next question.
Sure. All right. So this one is a ranking question. So when it pops up on your phones or your computer, however you're doing your polling, you can actually move these options up and down and rank which of these options. So rank the items below with the top being the most used. How do students get to school?
We do have a late entry. While we're doing that, we do have another response to the previous question. Science program. A science lab would be great to include.
I like science. All right, I think parent drop-off is definitely the big winner here.
Okay. If you're joining us on Facebook and you joined us late, you will see we're doing interactive polling right now. On the screen, you will see the poll information of how to respond, and it's also included in the comments section of this particular post. So be sure to join in and let your voice be heard as well.
All right, parent drop-off is number 1 going forward. Walking to school is number 2. Other, and if you can throw the other into the chat as well from Ms. Bell, that would be greatly helpful. And school bus. Other and school bus just swapped out. So we're tied for 3rd. Thank you, everyone. So what is your biggest priority for the new Kiest Elementary School? Again, we've got a couple of options for you to choose from. So safety and security, flexible classroom areas, sustainability and green building design, interactive and collaborative zones, and culturally sensitive design.
Can you go ahead and give a little bit of a definition for your collaborative zones, kind of what you had in mind? That is a question in the chat.
Sure. So the interactive and collaborative design actually goes back to one of your favorite programs, like the Garden Club. So it's one of the things in terms of using the space where you can actually use it as part of your education. So the interactive part of that clearly works towards what the end goal is for the entire school. So you're talking about the open classrooms, open learning areas, and different things like that. But even before that, the collaborative design part of it comes between you and the design team, where we work through some of those ideas of what you would like as that end result. So it kind of goes from design all the way through to the learning process for your students.
Did that help, Miss? Did that help with the question? Kind of formulate your ideas? And please feel free to ask questions at any time.
Yes, the more questions, the better.
Definitely.
All right, I'm going to lock these answers in. All right, there we go. Interactive and collaborative seems to be winning out at 44%, closely followed by flexible classroom areas at 33%.
Okay, we do have a question in the chat room. If we had typed up a wish list, is this where I could paste it? Yes, you can. Also, I'm going to include an email address as well in the chat room. So if you want to email your wish list there, it's quite all right with us, and we'll share it with the design team.
Definitely.
And that email address is bondcom, that's BONDCOM at dallasisd.org.
So someone read our minds. What if you had a wish list for the new Kiest Elementary School? What would be at the top of your list?
Okay, now it's time you paste in that wish list. And you just won the intuition prize for today from Errol.
I know. That's why I was laughing to myself. It's the very next question. Whoa, that populated really quickly. I like it.
There we go.
Restrooms is a big thing. What else do we have here? In terms of dismissal and seeing restrooms getting even bigger. I see shade pop up in there as well.
Now, is that shade for pickup and drop off, or just shade for playground area? We want to make sure we're understanding.
Yeah. I see lab pop up in there as well.
This
science areas. Okay, they're definitely starting to show some winners here. So it looks, and I'm guessing the roofed part that's showing up here is you're probably looking for more covered outdoor space. And you can confirm that in the chat if I'm understanding that correctly. All right, and I am going to freeze it here. Thank you guys, I appreciate that greatly. So as part of the DISD bond, Brett had initially spoken about the bold and innovative portions. And what we're showing here are kind of some images, that kind of reach out to that idea, trying to inspire you as to what we as designers typically interpret as bold and innovative. So those images basically are supposed to give you a kind of an idea of, when you think of bold and innovative schools, what words come to mind about design and planning? And we've got some options at the bottom for you again. So we have flexible, diversity, exterior learning, technology, colorful, remote, and that remote is virtual learning capabilities, engaging, collaboration, sustainable, and other.
In the chat, we have a little bit more insight about one of these questions. Shade for the playground areas and covering for rainy day dismissals. Roofed pathways, covered pathways for rainy days and hot days. And this rain is apparently a major problem. Also, Trust Mishke has included his contact information in the chat as well, and encourage anyone to contact him with any DISD concerns outside the scope of this meeting and within the scope of this meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Bell.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what we've got here. Oops, this one came up a little bit low. All right, and we will publish the results at the end. That one came up a little bit small to see. So moving on to generational, being the third big word within the bond program, you know, what we're basically trying to understand here, you know, giving some images of how designers view generational, but we also want to know how you view generational. So when you think of generational schools, what words come to mind about design and planning? Looks like building for tomorrow is one of the more popular ones. Mm-hmm. Sustainable is one of the more popular ones as well. All right, I'm going to go lock it all in. So building for tomorrow comes up at 25%, and sustainability comes up at 22%. So now we're actually going to transition a little bit into kind of a analysis of your current site, you know, the current school, the neighborhood that we're in, and I'm actually going to pass it over to Matthew.
Thank you, Errol. So we're going to get into a little bit, as Errol said, some of the site analysis. So we as architects and designers, you know, I think we like to look at the surroundings and attempt to draw inspiration from some of the elements that you'll see there. And so, as Errol mentioned, this idea about big is something that we attempted to kind of look through that lens at some of the parts and pieces that you actually already have on campus. So some of those ideas, let's go back one if you could, Errol. Some of those ideas are really displayed here. So you have a main entrance, and so starting to think about what a new welcoming entrance for the new school could be. I think we've already talked a little bit about the garden club and that strong connection to nature that you have right now with these great old trees. This element of kind of play and fitness and how they work together. So, you know, there's a series of existing playgrounds that are outdoors and other play areas, and then the large gymnasium on the inside. Inside the building, leadership, I think, is a big theme. I think one of the things that really kind of blew us away when we toured was some of the kind of graphic quality and the artwork that's around the school. And so you'll see the photograph of LeBron James and some of the other quotes that are around the building. And so that was something that really kind of stood out to us as something that maybe we want to carry forward in building the new school. And then obviously the kind of fundamental purpose of the school, which is really an environment for learning. And then these are just a series of photos, you know, stepping a little bit further out from the block that the school is on. So there's a park which is very close by with the rec center. Most of the neighborhood is residential homes with a few religious buildings. And so this was a kind of graphic, we call it a bird's eye view of just trying to locate everyone in the series of diagrams, which are little sketches that we've created that help illustrate some of the analysis. So the school that you can see here in the center of the image really takes up the entirety of the block that it's on. And so zooming out, so the school is in that dashed box in the center of the screen here. And so we've located a few of the things that you saw in some of the photographs. So Harry Stone Park, which is shown in green, is one of the photographs. Some of the religious buildings, and really this larger circle that you see surrounding the school is kind of how we look at quantifying things. So that's about a 5-minute walk from the center of the school. And so really, I think one of the observations that we've made is, this is really within a kind of residential area, and some of the other elements are kind of outside of that 5-minute walk. And so zooming back in, you can see again the current kind of configuration of the school. And so looking at the vehicular traffic, Milmar Drive, Healy Drive, and Casa Oaks, I think are less traveled roads, and the predominant kind of traffic pattern is really along Shiloh Road. And so you'll see that kind of bold line, we've thickened that just to make that suggestion. So that's one of the kind of key considerations that we're thinking about in how we develop the new design. The other thing, and I think sustainability and innovation and some of those themes seem to have stood out quite a bit in the polling. So another big consideration for us is the solar orientation. So really understanding that the sun rises in the east, it sets in the west. There are different kind of sun angles depending on the time of year. So really trying to maximize that as much as possible, both from an energy perspective, but also I think people picked up on kind of the shading comments. So creating outdoor kind of learning environments, but making sure that they're also comfortable spaces to bring kids out. And then highlighting some of the key programmatic spaces that are outdoors. So currently along Healy Drive, they're in yellow. You'll see the existing parent drop-off. I think a lot of the feedback that we've received so far is just that drop-off really, it gets very busy. It's not large enough. And so traffic actually backs up onto Healy Drive and sometimes even all the way onto Shiloh. So that's something that we're going to want to study and really look at. The staff parking lot, which is really off of Milmar Drive. There's also a pre-K parent drop-off in that location. So there's kind of 2 parent drop-off areas, which is how the school works. In red, we've highlighted some of the existing play structures and courts. And then the garden club moment, which is at the kind of heart of the school currently. You can see that in green. And then Harrystone Park up in the northwest corner, which we showed a few photos of that. So because there's so much kind of built up space with the existing school, the proposed project site, and we've got it in a kind of dashed white box that you see there off on the right-hand side, is at the intersection of Healy, Shiloh, and Milmar. And so we're very preliminary in terms of design, and I think this is where it's been a great opportunity to get a chance to speak with everybody. We did want to just very loosely present a couple of key site thoughts just for everybody to start to provide feedback to us. And so we have shown here really kind of 2 big ideas. This is an idea about a 1-story school. And the second option, which we'll flip to in a moment, is if there are some more 2-story elements. And really the kind of key idea that we wanted to showcase there is obviously a 1-story school takes up a lot more space on the existing site than a 2-story school. So it yields a little bit of a different opportunity. And Tim talked about a little bit of the phasing. So the idea is that the new school would be constructed while the existing school is in operation. And then there would be a transition to the new school, at which point we would demolish the current school and turn that back over into green space. And so that's where you see the large green box that says green space. From a kind of site and vehicular planning idea, this one-story option kind of maintains that existing separation between the staff parking lot up to the north and the parent drop-off to the south. Again, with that idea of trying to extend that drop-off just so we're not backing as many cars up onto the roads. And then some of the other elements that you can see here, you know, finding a location to put the play structures, you know, working in some kind of a loading dock, and then finding a way to reincorporate that garden area. And so you'll see some of those very kind of preliminary ideas here in this one-story option.
Okay, and we do have a question in the chat. What are the plans
Sure.
for the existing trees?
So the intent with the trees is that we're going to try to save them when the current school is demolished. So that's a really good question. So that's the plan.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Errol, can you advance to the next slide? Okay. So this is just the two-story footprint. So you can see that where it says new elementary, the footprint of the building here is actually reduced, which gives us more space to do landscaping and play structures. I think the other differentiator between the last option that we saw is this one's looking to really incorporate a connection access drive. So that's the big arrow that goes vertically north and south to connect the two streets across the site. So this would allow us to create a little bit more space in the parent drop-off. But again, these are kind of very high level, very preliminary ideas.
And we do have another comment about that from
Sure.
Mr. One of the people in the chat room said we would be interested in preserving our original garden area somehow. So just as a flag for as you're formalizing design plans.
Yep, wonderful.
So as part of, you know, Matthew just went through kind of our high level design thoughts for a lot of what we've kind of initiated thus far. In addition to that, you know, we've got us really good participation this afternoon, and we're very, very, very excited about that. So thank you very much. You know, so some of the key takeaways that we've noted thus far from this polling that we've done today, you know, a lot of people talked about, you know, the leadership programs within Kiest Elementary. We had some really good responses about, you know, what it is for you to view yourself as an all-star, you know, being part of a team and being ready to learn. Everyone loved the garden program, and this is definitely one of the bigger items that we will be focusing heavily on to make sure that we maintain and try to make sure that lives on, you know, all the way throughout the project. But a couple of the other notable ones that came up that we weren't aware of, and you know, gives us an opportunity to really try to think outside the box a little bit and help you guys expand, you know, a robotics or a science program within the school. These are really, really good ideas that, you know, we will take back to our design exercises and see how we can try to incorporate some of this for you. The shading comments, I'm glad we got those clarifications, Ms. Bell. So thank you for, you know, fielding the chat for us so that we could understand exactly what people were talking about when they're talking about, you know, the roofing and the shading. So that helps clear up a lot of that, and that's very, very informative as we go forward. And, you know, in addition to that, you know, people are definitely interested again, you know, in preserving the original garden. So that will be at the forefront of our minds as we go forward. So, you know, we're just going to leave you guys kind of wrapping it up, you know, with the biggest word cloud that we've gotten thus far. We really do appreciate your input. It really, really helps us. as we go through the process, and we can express to you how much it is appreciated by the team, and also, by DISD as a whole, because, the community really, really is the purpose of what we do and why we do it. So thank you very much. We appreciate all the effort, and I'll turn it back over to you, Ms. Bell.
Thank you so much. And I tell you what, Kiest community, you really had your voices heard this evening. That word cloud speaks volumes for what you want to see and the expectations you're setting for the new Kiest Elementary. I'm going to pause at this time to see if there's anyone who wants to make any additional comments, either via the chat room. If you can raise your hand using the reaction buttons, we can come to you as well as we're closing out tonight's meeting. Wonderful. Okay, we have a question in the chat. We also need the restroom. Restrooms were big. Don't forget the restrooms. The restroom placements to make sense. Right now, the student restrooms do not work. We also need more staff restrooms. So make sure that I see Matthew is writing that down, incorporating, and of course, the chat room is being saved as well. I again remind everyone that this meeting has been recorded as well as shared on Facebook Live. If you know of someone who was unable to attend tonight, they were busy or what have you, please feel free to tell them to go to Dallas ISD's Facebook Live page or Dallas ISD at Espanol Facebook page to view the the presentation, or they can visit the Bond's website. The video from tonight, as well as the presentation, will be uploaded there by the end of the day tomorrow. We have a few more suggestions coming through as well. Keep them coming. We need to hear from you. Big classrooms for early childhood classrooms with restrooms and cubby/lockers. So that's for our pre-K babies and pre-K through kinder babies. So all the early learning, they want bigger classrooms, of course, with restrooms as required by the state, and cubbies and lockers rooms or storage space. Would storage space be, when you say cubbies and lockers, you're just basically saying you need storage, am I correct? And lots of natural light for the classrooms. That's also very, very important as we're hearing through our chats. We have another comment coming through. Thank you. Enjoyed very much our meeting. Looking forward to more as we keep envisioning our school's future. Our students and their families are a very tight-knit community that are always eager to come into our school. And we can tell that by the turnout and the voices being heard tonight. The question, follow up on the big classrooms for early childhood and early learning classrooms with restrooms and storage space for both the students and the teachers. So we want to make sure that the storage for the students will be age appropriate. And of course, for the teachers as well. The teachers not age appropriate to make sure they can store items they need to do and learning tools for the kiddos they work with as well. Do you have any other comments coming forward? We have a few more minutes. Okay, again, we have a project website on our Bond 2020, dallasisd.org/Bond 2020 is the home to all of the projects under the Bond 2020 program. We're re-envisioning, reimagining, and replacing about 15 schools under this bond, which is a tremendous effort. To make sure to make it easy for everyone to track your particular project, you can track them for this one. I've put it into the chat room and also will include it in the Facebook posting as well. That website for this project is www.dallasisd.org/the new Kiest. That's THENEWKIEST. That website will be updated again with the recording of tonight's meeting, the presentation from tonight, additional information. So that's your home throughout the project from design all the way through. We have that wonderful ribbon cutting in a few years. With that being said, Mr. Alfred, I want to turn it back over to you for next steps.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Bell, and thank you, Kiest community. I mean, we got a lot of good feedback tonight, exactly what we're looking for. PGAL, you guys did a great job. But in our next meeting, like I said, today was about listening. We're coming back with that first rendition of sketching, see how well these guys listen. And then we'll get your comments again. Like I said, we're going to keep this interactive. And in our third meeting, we'll come back and show you the final design of the building, which is going to be very exciting. From then on, PGAL is going to have their task cut to finish the complete design, the technical part of it, to the end of this year. And hopefully next year, around the summer, we're going to break ground and start construction. So quite a journey. I'm excited about this process. And I'll turn it back over to you, Ms. Bell.
Thank you. We want the community to know as well. Once we submit the final project, the project team your voice will still continue to be heard. The project team will be working closely with the school and with the school's community to form a smaller stakeholder groups as we go through the process of actually finalizing the design. Your voice is very important to Dallas ISD, and we are committed in bond and construction services to transparency throughout the project and to engage with our communities to hear your idea, because again, this is your school. And we're not building this school just for today, but we're building it for generations of future Kiest All-Stars that are yet to be born. Again, Trustee Mishke, thank you for joining us this evening. Would you like to have any closing remarks?
Well, yes, I'd like to thank everybody for their participation tonight. And I want to urge everybody on the call to get more people involved, because the next meeting is going to be very critical in terms of giving guidance and in terms of what direction the design will take. And I see Mike on here, and I see a number of folks from the Kiest teaching staff on here, but I'd like to get as many people as possible having some input early on. And we don't have a date yet for the next design meeting, but we will get that out to everybody in advance. This meeting is recorded, but let's try to get as many people who have an interest in seeing what this school is going to turn out to be, to get involved early, rather than waiting to see what the final product looks like. So I just encourage all of you to get the word out. And again, thank you all for being here.
And thank you again for joining us this evening. And yes, please share the information. If you know people who couldn't join us, the information is out there to be shared. We look forward to these numbers going up each time so we can make sure that we're hearing what you need and what your desire is for this new school. Executive Director Vega, would you like to make any closing remarks tonight?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to Dallas ISD Bond, Trustee Mitchke, of course, you, Jacqueline Bell, for leading us tonight, our school officials, Principal Rubio, but most importantly, our Kiest parents and our Kiest community, to allow us to have this collaboration this evening, to think, big and bold and innovative and generational. So thank you so much.
Thank you again for everything you do today and every day. And closing tonight, again, we've included the links here. The information is out there. We're going to let our great principal have the closing remarks for tonight.
Hi again. I just want to thank everybody that joined us today. This was a great collaboration meeting. I'm excited on behalf of all the students. They're going to be really excited. So thank you, community. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Dallas ISD leadership. Let's have a great evening.
Thank you again for joining, and have a good evening, everyone. Good night.